Everyone, welcome back. Today we're doing a deep dive on a research article all about AI safety and development.
Especially for generative AI.
Yeah, generative AI, the kind of AI that can, write stuff or make music. And we're going to look at a new framework for making sure all this happens responsibly. But then we're going to take it a step further and see what it means for a specific place.
The Philippines.
The Philippines. They are really starting to get into AI.
Yeah, it's pretty exciting to see. You know what I really like about this research?
What's that?
It's not just like throwing up warnings about AI, which we see a lot of.
Right.
It actually offers like a practical approach, step by step.
Okay, so it's a how-to guide, basically.
Yeah, like a blueprint almost.
Yeah.
For building AI the right way.
I like that. A blueprint. Okay, so let's break it down. What's the first layer of this blueprint?
The first layer is all about the training data.
Okay, the data, right.
AI learns from the data it's fed, just like we learn from our experiences. So if you train an AI on data that's, biased or wrong, it's going to spit out biased or wrong results.
That makes sense. Garbage in, garbage out, as they say.
Exactly. So this framework really emphasizes using data that is high quality, fair, and represents everyone who might use the AI.
Represents all the different groups.
Exactly.
Okay, I got it. So that's the foundation. You can't build a good house on a shaky foundation.
That's a good way to put it, yeah.
So we got our data all sorted out. What's the next step in our AI blueprint?
So next we move on to the algorithm layer.
The algorithm. Okay, now we're getting a little bit more technical.
A little bit, yeah.
But it's important.
Oh, it's crucial. An algorithm is basically the set of rules that the AI uses to learn and make decisions.
Okay.
So this framework says these algorithms need to be transparent.
Okay.
We need to understand how the AI is making choices so we can make sure it's not being discriminatory or, unfair.
So we can check its work. It's like peeking inside the AI's brain and making sure it's thinking ethically.
Perfect analogy.
All right, so we understand how the AI is thinking. Now what?
Now we look at what it's actually producing. We call this the inference layer.
So it's like checking the AI's homework, making sure its output is accurate and appropriate.
Exactly. We need to make sure that AI is spitting out reliable information, not just some random misleading content.
Right.
Like imagine if you had an AI doctor.
Oh? Yeah.
And it was giving wrong diagnoses because it was trained on bad data. That's exactly what we want to prevent with this layer.
Yeah, that's a scary thought. So we've built our AI.
Yeah.
It's thinking clearly and doing good work. What happens next?
Then we move on to the publication layer.
Publication.
It's all about accountability, making sure that the folks who develop and release AI models are responsible for their impact.
So it's not enough to just build good AI. You got to make sure it's used for good, too.
Exactly. And that leads us to the final and probably most important layer, societal impact.
Societal impact, okay.
This is where we look at the big picture, How will this AI affect our lives? Will it create jobs or will it displace workers? Will it be used ethically? Those are all questions we have to consider.
So this is where we kind of zoom out from the technical stuff and think about the human side of things.
Right.
This reminds me of how the Philippines are starting to ask these same questions. They're excited about AI, but also want to make sure it's good for everyone.
Yeah, and that's really smart of them. The Philippines is interesting. They're going all in on AI, but they're being cautious, taking their time. And this framework is really helpful for figuring that out.
So how can this 5-layer framework help the Philippines specifically? Let's get into that next.
Well, let's start with that first layer, the training data.
Okay, training data.
The Philippines has tons of different languages and cultures and backgrounds.
It's super diverse.
Right. And if those AI models are only trained on data that doesn't show all that, it could make things even more unequal or even create new problems.
Okay.
Yeah. So using this framework, developers in the Philippines could make sure they're using data that represents all Filipinos, not just a small group.
Okay, so everyone's included from the very start. I like that.
Exactly. It's all about building AI that's fair to everyone right from the beginning.
Makes sense. Okay, so what about that next layer? The algorithm layer.
Yeah, the algorithm. That one's all about transparency, especially since AI is still kind of new in the Philippines.
Right.
Filipinos need to know how AI is making decisions that affect them,
Absolutely. Whether it's like healthcare or their money or even government stuff.
Exactly. It's all about building trust so people feel good about AI being a part of their lives.
Okay. Trust. Got it. So that ties into that next layer, right? The inference layer, where we're checking if the AI's output is good.
You got it. We need to make sure that AI is giving good info, not just random stuff. Imagine an AI helping farmers decide what to plant.
Okay, yeah.
But it gives them bad advice because the data's messed up or the algorithm's biased.
Oh, that'd be bad.
It would be a disaster for those farmers and their communities. So this layer is all about making sure that doesn't happen.
So it's like double checking the AI's work to make sure it's helping people, not hurting them.
Exactly. And then we got that publication layer. That's all about accountability. The people making and releasing these AIs need to be responsible for what happens, especially if it's bad.
It's like having rules for any new tech.
Yeah.
Because it could really change things.
Yeah. You got to have safety measures in place.
Okay, safety first. So now we're the final layer, societal impact. This sounds like where the Philippines has a real chance to do something amazing with AI.
Absolutely. They can use AI to tackle some of the tougher problems they face, like making healthcare better in those more remote areas, or even like stepping up their education game.
Yeah, and creating new jobs.
Exactly. Instead of just worrying about AI being bad, they can use it to create a better future. Be proactive about it.
So they can decide how they want to use AI. They don't have to be afraid of it.
Right. And they're already doing it. There are actually a bunch of AI laws being talked about in the Philippines right now that line up with this framework.
Oh, wow. That's awesome. They're putting these ideas into action. So which laws are we talking about here?
Well, there's HB 7396 and HB 7983. They're all about setting standards for data and creating a research hub for AI.
So they're making sure that from day one, ethical AI is the priority.
Yep, building that strong foundation we were talking about.
I like it. That's a great start. What about the other layers? Are there laws about them too?
Oh, absolutely. There's this one called HB 7913. It focuses on how AI algorithms work, making sure they're transparent.
So they're not just effective, but also understandable.
Exactly, and accountable, which is really important.
And what about making sure that AI content is being used responsibly? Like with those deep fakes and all that misinformation out there.
Right. So there's HB 10567, which is all about making sure that AI content, particularly things like deep fakes, is used ethically and accurately. It's about being responsible with the information AI puts out there.
It's like they're thinking of everything.
It's really impressive. You can see how this framework is guiding their decisions, creating this really well-rounded approach to AI regulation.
It all fits together like a puzzle. So we've talked about making sure AI doesn't do anything bad. But what about using it to make things better? Are there laws for that too?
You bet. HB 9448 and HB 10460 are all about protecting workers.
Okay. So thinking about jobs and automation.
Exactly. They're trying to make sure people don't lose their jobs because of AI, and that AI is used to create more opportunities, not less.
So it's not just about preventing harm. It's about actually using AI to improve lives.
Exactly. Making sure everyone benefits. Then there's HB 10385.
What's that one about?
Get this. It wants to create an entire government department just for AI.
Wow, a whole department just for AI.
Yeah. Pretty wild, right? It's called the AI Bureau. And it just shows how seriously the Philippines is taking this whole AI thing. This bureau would be responsible for putting this framework into practice, making sure everything is coordinated and effective.
So it's like they're building the foundation for a whole AI ecosystem in the Philippines.
Precisely. And by following these frameworks, this AI Bureau could really set a new standard for how we do AI, not just in the Philippines, but globally.
The Philippines could be leading the way, showing everyone how to do AI right.
I think that's totally possible. And it highlights how global this issue really is. If we want AI to be a good thing for everyone, we got to work together, share what we know, and learn from each other.
So this isn't just a Philippines problem or a U.S. problem. It's everyone's problem.
Exactly. We need to be on the same page if we want to make sure AI benefits all of us.
Well said. So what does that future actually look like? What are some concrete ways AI could make life better in the Philippines?
Yeah, so many possibilities. What if AI could, help close that gap between the cities and the more rural areas?
Oh, totally. Like healthcare. Imagine an AI doctor in a village where people don't always have access to real doctors.
Oh, like a virtual doctor. Kinda, yeah. It could figure out what's wrong with people, give them some basic advice, and even connect them with specialists in the city, through video calls and stuff.
Wow, so people wouldn't have to travel for hours just to see a doctor. That's a game changer. What about education? Could AI help kids in the Philippines learn better, no matter where they live?
For sure. We could have these AI-powered learning systems that adjust to each kid's needs. Like, some kids learn faster, some slower, right? AI can figure that out and give each kid exactly what they need. Plus, it could help with all those different languages they have in the Philippines and give kids in remote areas access to better learning materials.
It's like AI could make sure everyone gets a fair shot at a good education.
Yeah, exactly. And then there's the whole economic side of things. AI could help businesses in the Philippines become more efficient, more innovative. They could compete with anyone in the world. Plus, who knows what kind of new jobs and industries AI could create?
It's not just about fixing problems. It's about opening up all these new opportunities. The Philippines could really be a leader in all of this.
They absolutely could. And it's all about making choices, right? By using this framework, having these discussions, and making smart policies, the Philippines can create a future where AI is a good thing, a helpful tool.
This has been awesome. I feel like I have a way better grasp on this whole AI safety thing now.
Yeah.
And it's really cool to see how it can actually help a place like the Philippines.
Glad to hear it. It's been great chatting about this with you. It's really fascinating stuff, seeing how this framework can be put into action. It's exciting.
And to everyone listening, we hope this deep dive gave you a fresh perspective on AI. It's not all scary robots taking over the world, right? It can actually be a really powerful force for good. But as AI keeps getting more advanced, we all need to stay informed and speak up about how it should be used.
It's up to us to make sure AI is used to benefit everyone. The future of AI is literally in our hands, so let's make it a good one.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Thanks for joining us in this deep dive. Until next time, stay curious.